All right, if you've been waiting for the Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury fight, well, it looks like it finally is going to happen. Or will it? After two unsuccessful attempts to make the fight happen, both fighters reportedly have agreed to terms on a boxing match. Here for some boxing banter is New York Post sports reporter Jake Schwartz. Jake, how's it going? We haven't talked some boxing in a while. Glad to have you here.
Here we go again, Dexter. It feels like every couple of weeks we're doing this. No, this is the third time that Jake is trying to make this fight with Tommy Fury, and as you said, according to reports, they've come to this agreement, but they've come to an agreement twice before, and we've seen that those two fights fall out. Last December, not this past December, but last December, they had an agreement to fight. But Tommy Fury pulled out at the last second due to health issues. He said he had an injury in training. They agreed to fight again last August. But of course, last June, Tommy Fury had trouble getting into the United States. The fight was going to take place in the United States. He said he couldn't get into the country, and the fight was postponed again. So there's definitely reason for speculation from boxing fans whether this fight is going to happen again, or whether this fight is ever going to happen. They've had agreements. They've traded ample trash talk online. It's clear that both fighters want this fight, but it seems like they can't get in the ring to actually make the fight. I think the location will be paramount for this. We're just over 5 weeks away from when this fight is supposed to take place in February. They still don't have a location for where they want to fight. That is probably the most important variable. We know Fury's travels have caused a problem before in this. Securing a location, securing a streaming network. We know Jake Paul has fought on Showtime before. There's still a lot of variables to go until we see these guys in the ring. There's definitely a reason to have speculation whether this fight will actually happen.
Oh, yeah. I think it's reasonable for a lot of fans to say, will this happen or not? Now, Ariel Helwani, combat sports insider, he said that this is a done deal, right? He said that this is going to happen. It's supposed to happen on February 25th. We will see, Jake. We will see if this happens. Nobody knows. Now, Jake Paul, that is. He is 6-0. He's coming off a win over Anderson Silva. That was back in October. And Fury, he's 8-0 with 4 knockout wins. But he hasn't fought since last April. So what's your intrigue level for this fight, Jake? Do you have a high intrigue level for this one? Or are you kind of like, I don't know, because I don't know if this is going to happen?
Look, the big intrigue is here. Jake Paul hasn't fought a real boxer yet. Somebody who's trained as a boxer, somebody who's a professional boxer, someone who's fought other professional boxers. That is one of his biggest goals. Now, we know he also signed an agreement to join the Pro Fighters League, PFL. We don't know when that first fight is. We know he's starting to call some other fighters out in that promotion. But it seems like in boxing, he still wants to fight an actual boxer before he moves on. Tommy Fury would still present Jake Paul with the first boxer that he's faced in his career. He's fought MMA fighters, Anderson Silva, Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley, and some of those UFC fighters have been good at boxing. Their MMA style is of striking and of boxing, but they're not professional boxers. So Tommy Fury just gives Jake Paul that opportunity to finally fight a boxer, to finally beat a boxer, and prove that he's not just fighting these gimmick fights, to prove that he's really in the sport for real and can take on real opposition.
I think that's the word there that a lot of people have looked at with Paul, right? That it's gimmick fights. That's the term you hear when it comes to him. And you mentioned this. He's never actually gone up against an opponent who's consistently trained and fought as a boxer. So while he is one of the top drawers, and we know that Jake Paul is about getting that bag in the sport right now, is this his toughest test? Do you look at it that way?
Yeah, I think so. Along those lines, with being the first professional boxer that he would face, it's just the best, opponent that he would face. Tommy Fury has fought, has fought in boxing before. Jake Paul's last fight, he defeated Anderson Silva in somewhat of a surprise. Anderson Silva fought Julio Cesar Chavez in an exhibition boxing fight, but he's old. He's way old past his prime. Doesn't have what he used to have. He's slower. This is by far Jake Paul's best opponent in the ring, by far his toughest challenge, and it'll demand by far his best performance to come out victorious.
Yeah, toughest challenge. Yeah, toughest challenge indeed.
Of course, if it happens.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. And the toughest challenge for the fans is, will this happen or not? That is the toughest challenge for all of us.
That's the challenge beforehand. Is he's got to get in the ring first, and then he's got the bigger challenge waiting for him.
Yeah, it does. I don't know what the over/under about this fight is going down on February 25th. We will see. My producer Chris does not think it's going to happen. I'm not even going to say whether I think it's going to happen or not. But I hope, Jake, that we're not doing this in about 3.5, 4 weeks. Another video saying that the fight is off. We hope that doesn't happen. That is it. I hope that's not the case, Jared.
And if it is, we'll talk to you then.
I will talk to you then, Jared. We'll be talking about Jake Paul and another fight and whatever his next fight will be coming up. That is Jared Schwartz, New York Post sports reporter. Jared, thank you for your time, and I hope the next time I talk to you, it's to actually preview this fight and break it down a little bit more.
Thank you, Dexter. Always a pleasure.
Always.